welcome to the final day here at VCT EMEA of week 2. Just week 2, don't worry you guys, we got 2 more weeks coming before playoffs, but it is really crunch time. Do or die. Not a single team is out of contention just yet, but things could be different by the end of today. I'm your host Yinsu, and I'm joined here by Kaquka and Ash. I missed you guys. They stuck me with the boys yesterday. I missed you.
Did you have a good time?
I had the worst time.
Okay. Yeah. I had a terrible time as well. I was like, I'm home and like watching the show, and I'm like, this feels so weird, so wrong in some way.
Yeah, I felt like I was standing out the side of the window. I was just like, just let me in, let me back in here. But I'm looking forward to today. It's going to be a really fun time, and it's insane that nobody is locked in still.
Well, the thing is, some teams can be locked in today. Let's take a look at the standing and schedule as well, because if Gentlemate even loses to Koi, Foot will be locked in automatically. And if Mates lose and then later on Fnatic win Kaquka, Fnatic will also be locked in as well.
Yeah, exactly. There's so many things to take into account, not only for the teams that are playing today, but also for the ones that are not playing. Definitely, we know who Foot is cheering for today, but it could be a great day for France, and we could see, or keep seeing even, the resurgence of Koi.
Yeah, Koi, the fact that they keep continuing on with this storyline of just having their backs against the wall and being able to step up in a lot of these plays, and the expectations for them, I think, have also started to mount a little bit with how they've improved with their performances.
I feel like when the pressure is off, they just get unleashed. They just play.
Yeah,
they play
they said it themselves, right?
Yeah. And it doesn't even feel like an upset anymore because we know what they can do when there is no pressure. But that's what's been going on here in the EMEA. Things are getting very, very exciting. But we're not the only region in the world. We have to go up against 3 other regions when we head
they
to
have to go
Champions.
up against us.
So let's take a look and see what's been happening at the other regions as well. And do you know what? I've been watching VCT Americas very, very closely. My GOAT, Finesse, is back. So, you know, that's one of my favorite things to do. So let's talk about VCT Americas. And I want to get myself into the zone of this region. And of course, in particular, Golden Boy. So I'm gonna channel my inner GB right now because I want to show you guys a composition that I've seen over VCT Americas that I love. And much like the wrestler Bret Hart, Potter Christine is my GOAT. And Potter Christine keeps pulling off crazy things over there, and it works. And I know what you're about to say because it does look kind of familiar.
Yeah, exactly. You know, you're taking Americas. I took a look at Pacific, and I thought that this was the composition that I requested because we expected Pacific to be in on the train of the ISO, the Neon. If somebody was going to pull out something crazy, maybe we would expect someone like Paper X to do it. They did play it and all that, but I was looking at the same composition that I assume you were looking at from Christine, and it's this composition from Talon that they use on Icebox. Now, I don't think people acknowledge how annoying it is to play against this, because you don't have the Viper, right? So you're not conditioned to be in usage of that wall, but you have so many walls and smokes. It's so annoying even if you're playing without flashes. Just with Soba and how important he is in this kind of compositions, it's very annoying to go up against an ISO, against a Clove, and everything else.
As Golden Boy probably would say right now, if we were to put them and the EG guys into the Royal Rumble, who's winning? Because my money is probably on Jogamo. I feel like Jogamo's ISO is insane.
I'm always on Christine's side. I'm completely biased.
All right. I think I've run out of wrestling. Something Randy Orton, something Ash. What you got?
I don't know WWE, but I do know VCTC. Thank you. But when it comes to VCTC, and you guys are talking about the ISO, we saw this region running it early on over in stage 1 and whatnot, one of the first regions to actually be pulling that out. And what's most surprising is that they just had not used it at all, despite being the first one to be on patch 8.11. Instead, I want to lean over towards Haven, where we've seen some innovation coming out from both JDG and FPX. You have this double flash comp where we see Life having that ability to just get down C-Long so quickly. Sure, it's a great response from JDG, but it's very cool how that ability to kind of kick up that pace works out with that fault line and the flash. And then you also have the fact that we're seeing JDG running the Fade Gecko, a combination of initiators that we don't typically see on Haven, the first time that we're actually seeing it in any region.
I mean, I'm surprised. I want to see more Haven in our region. I want to see how many different teams that we have here that have innovated in the past are going to interpret Haven when it's back in the pool.
But this is the thing though, other regions, they are playing Clove, you know, VCTC, and they play Clove as well. They did it when nobody else was doing it. I know they're not so hot on the ISO just yet. Do you guys think that we, bringing this back to EMEA, need to see more Clove?
I think it depends. I think our priorities and the priorities from the team differ a bit just because of how the rest of the region plays it. I think, for example, when we saw Casey at the beginning of the year during kickoff, there were things that only they were doing, running the Gecko on certain maps, even like the Duelist, and people and the other teams start picking that up and seeing the strength and how to counter it and what it actually brings you. It depends on every single team, but I think only time will tell. So many things are changing in the game that I think Clove is like the least of their worries.
I'm just upset because we have Angel, we have Red Gull, we have all these people, Boo, like all these people that I feel like should play Clove, Ash. I want to see them on it.
I mean, the Clove would be really cool, but at the same time, when you're talking about the 3 players that we just mentioned, now aside from Angel, we see them on the Omen, right, where they have that ability to make the strat step. I think they've valued a lot more the movement, the repositioning that can come from that agent instead. And with the way that our region, I feel like, is playing as well, I don't know if Clove necessarily fits into the playstyle currently within EMEA.
We want fun though. We want
fun.
We want to
do
get
want
more fun. And speaking of that, on this show, we love to give people opportunities, and we did just that earlier. Take a look at Mitchman finally reuniting with an old friend.
Hello everybody and welcome. I'm joined by Kadavra for a quick interview ahead of his match. First of all, Kadavra, thank you so much for joining me here today.
Thank you too. Hello.
It's very nice to see you. It's I almost feel like saying it's been a long time. It's a long time since we spoke, but we never saw each other before.
No, we never saw each other. We were working together, but we never saw each other.
For a long time. Wow, back many years ago. It makes me feel old even thinking about it, honestly.
I was 21. I was 21.
Wow. I was, I think, 22 or 23. Yeah, these are a long time ago. And listen, I want to talk to you. Let's start on the first question from way back then. You played in the first ever Masters event on Alliance versus Takas. You played against this guy, and now you're playing with him. What is it like to play on stage in VCT with your former enemies?
Yeah, I mean, it's really good because we were enemy, but we are also friends in real life. So I'm just excited to play with him, and I really like to play. I take a lot of pleasure, so yeah, it's good. It's
Amazing.
Good to be with him.
This is good to hear. And listen, stepping up to this level here in VCT in partnership, it was always an eventuality for you. You put in the work, you never gave up, and you grinded through that tier 2 system. But I wanted to ask you, do you think that playing through that open circuit against so many different teams, do you think it's given you any kind of an advantage over the teams or the players who've been here stuck in partnership?
I don't know if it's an advantage, but for sure, we played. I think in Tier 2 you played more game than a partnership team. You played you just play more basically, and you play more like crazy people, you know, doing crazy stuff. So I think you get used to fancy stuff more easily, you know. Okay. So I will not say it's an advantage, but at least it's not a disadvantage, you know.
Okay, a little fresh perspective that you can bring.
Yeah.
I like that. Now listen, you brought a very fresh perspective to the server the other day. Last week, as a debut, I got to cast the game and it was very fun. You were destroying people, 13-1 in your first map of partnership. Kadavra, what is it like to step out on that stage and deliver such a strong performance? Did you expect to do that well?
I mean, to be honest, I was expecting for myself to play good, and I was expecting the team to play really good. But I was not expecting 13-1 for the first game, not gonna lie. But unfortunately, we didn't win at the end. But yeah, I was not expecting that strong, like to start that strong. But we did it, so.
Well, I think now teams will consider getting rid of that split in the veto against you.
Yeah, I think so too.
It could be the right call. And listen, the last question I had for you, again, taking it back to when I used to know you back on the server, you were always a duelist and a damn impressive one. But since then, over the years, you've played whatever role the team needs you to play. I'm curious. We're going into a new meta now. ISO, Neon, buffs, these duelists are crazy. Can you give us any hints on what we'll see? And will we maybe get a Kata buff duelist?
I mean, I hope. Let's see. You will see in 1 hour or 2 hours.
Keeping the secrets close to your chest,
yeah,
I
I can say, but even if I'm not on duelist role, you will always see me in front and fight. So
oh, I like it. I love it. I'm excited to see it. Well, I won't waste any more of your time. I'll let you go get prepared for the game. Thank you so much for joining you, and
too.
a pleasure to meet you, my friend.
Same.
Back over to you on the desk, folks.
Oh, that is so wholesome. Very, very wholesome to let them reunite. But this is the thing, Kata, he's coming. He had a great debut. He looks like an amazing addition to this team. But things could potentially get complicated and maybe even difficult for him because, as we know, Gentlemates announced that Existence will be taking a break until the end of season. And he is a huge voice and influence on this team, Kaquka.
Yeah, we've talked about him so much, especially during Ascension. Every single time that a team was going to go up against them, we talked about him, the preparation that he was bringing in, all the ideas, all that craziness that we saw also at the beginning of the year with them playing the Phoenix and the Sage and everything else. We do not know how much this is going to impact the rest of the team, especially now that Kadabra just joined.
Yeah, because that's 2 major changes in a very small period of time, and that can affect just the dynamics, even maybe the energy going into these matches here as well, with seeing how quickly pieces are even moving within their own team environment.
Mitch and Kata, they mentioned Takas briefly a little bit. Obviously, we've seen him on a variety of duelists and so on, and I also think that is inherently a good thing for them to have Katana on the team and the viability of having a double duelist.
Yeah, exactly. I think that that will be so interesting, especially with the patch that we're playing. What we're seeing here right now is something that they did last week, if I'm not mistaken. All of this micros to see what the teams have been investing their time in if they didn't make it to those international events. Even though they didn't get the win that day, so many things were on point. And also the contrast from Takas playing on the Euro and then him playing on the Neon was a little bit jarring, but we have to give him props of what he did on this map.
We really do. I feel like he does very well with the disruption of the Yoru, the ability to flash for himself as well, and obviously Beaz is always there to help him out on top of that. But when we look over towards that Neon, we have the stats here for Takas on that Sunset match versus Giant X, and it felt very flat. We do see that it was a 1 to 15 in First Blood's first death. You know what? I respect the fact that he still got the vibes going despite that statistic for him, because he didn't manage to get a single opening pick on the attacking side on that map. But I'm hoping to see, like you're talking about, Yinsu, maybe the Takas, Kadabra, double duelist, maybe more of like a look of what we see for Heretics with Mini Boo and Foot, where you have that ability to be a bit more of that distraction and that secondary person, Kadabra, can follow up.
On the positive note, maybe he ended up going 1 in 15 in opening duels, but that ended up in a 13-11. That says a lot about Gentlemates as a team.
Yeah, it does, definitely indeed. But let's look over at Koi, because contrary to popular even belief, they're not out. They're not out. They can still make playoffs. We need like a lot of other things to happen as well. But it's just nice to see them smile on stage again.
And enjoying the game, enjoying every single round, seeing that the time that they invested into preparing for this play has not gone into the void. Yes, their chances are very, very slim, but this is what we need from them. We need to see them, as you were saying, Yinsu, unleash. Worried about something else. Just focus on your plan. If things do not work, well, you think about it when it's over.
And Ashley, it feels like this is where they're the most dangerous. This is probably not a good time to play Koi.
No, it's where they're scariest, where they're having that fun, and it's incredible the way that they're just able to bounce back in that kind of regard and completely flip a switch.
I can't wait to see it, because last playoffs, they crushed a few hearts. I feel like they ruined a few teams' chances.
And this is also a first time, right? Because Gentlemates just came in this year and they've never played against Koi, so let's see how that ends up.
And I know how important this is for Spain and France as well. It's a big, big rivalry, and this is a must-win for both of these teams if they want a chance to make it all the way to playoffs. Here's Koi and Gentlemates taking the stage. for the first time this year, Existence is not on stage here in the studio with his team, and instead in his place is Mad C, who's stepping in for this. How big of a difference do you guys think this is going to be, considering they haven't really had a lot of time to adjust and change to the absence of Existence?
Probably the plan was already there into how to approach this match, what they were going to do, and obviously, as we say, all the time that was invested into this plate. The problem is the timeouts, right?
Yes.
Are we going to say the same impact? But going straight into the map veto, Sunset is going to be the first one. Do you make of this, Ash?
I think this is pretty scary for Koi at the very least. They haven't looked too great on this map, despite the fact that they are the ones actually selecting it. Meanwhile, you look over towards Gentlemate, sure, it was a rough match last time.
Yeah.
It is really strong in favor of Gentlemates this veto.
I'm very, very surprised they just kind of let them have the split, but the other caveat is they've seen it, they know what they do.
How much is this affected by the games that they have respectively played against Giants, right? Because Giants picked that Sunset against Koi, and they regretted that. Also, it was the first time that Koi won this map since the regular season. They played it once also in they played it some more times during a kickoff, but it is somewhere that it was a little bit hit or miss. I think that they weren't very sure. How much of that confidence has been brought up by Giants? Same goes for the split on the side of Gentlemates. A 13-1 does not give you a lot of tape on yourself on what you did wrong.
No, but then going back to that Sunset pick as well, the success that they found up against Giant X in that 13-5 was also the difference in composition, where we saw that swap from the Neon onto the Raze there for Camo, where he looked much more comfortable.
Well, let's take a look at Asian Select here and see if we have any adaptations to this meta. We have, he's back on the wall.
He's back on the wall. He's back on the wall.
He left the wall a little bit, he's back.
We were looking at him, but he wasn't on the Sova, and we know how important Sova has become back on the meta. I feel like it was a little bit overlooked with all the Gecko and the KO, and now that he's back, and especially teams like Heretics show us how important it is on a map like Sunset. I really want to see how the combos and everything else is going to be, because starting on the defense, they should have theoretically an easy time.
And the fact that also for, again, you mentioned it earlier on, it's the first time these two teams are facing off against each other, so maybe Gentlemates do feel that comfortability in running that stage, where we saw them kind of move away from it initially, and the fact that they're like, okay, this is the first time we're looking up against Koi, we're feeling confident in that kind of sense. But then you look at the Koi comp, they haven't changed anything, and they did look quite good up against Giant X last time around, especially, again, I love seeing Stark, so on that KO, it feels like he has the most impact here when he's playing that agent.
I am just glad to see him back on the wall. I feel like it's needed. And of course, just a reminder, if you are a fan of Foot, you are also a fan of Koi today. If Koi win here, they beat Gentlemates, doesn't matter what the map difference is, Foot will 100% be locked for playoffs. And speaking of that, speaking of Foot, here's Mitch and Tom.
Thank you, Yinsu. Yes, we are the #1 Foot fans over here. We love Team Foot. But Tom, you know what I love more than that is good Valorant, and we're about to get some here today.
Glad that's what you said.
Split left in the pool. I mean, I'm a bit surprised. I talked to Kata earlier, and he even said, seems to be wise to take that out, but they're rolling with it. Maybe a risk?
I don't know. I feel like for Koi at this stage, and the reason I've been enjoying watching them so recently is they've stopped looking at what other teams are doing. They've stopped looking at counters and more focused on just enjoying themselves, team synergy, and basically working on things that they can control. And I think that the worst thing you can do against a team like Gentlemates is try and anti them. They are the anti-team. They are the ones that have always come in with the strats, although with Existence currently taking a break from the team, I don't know if that will be the case so much anymore.
Yeah.
I'm excited to see what they've got for this one. Obviously, Natank, when we saw him play the Sage on this map before, had a lot of cool boosts and ideas, but Koi have seen that before, so I'd be a bit surprised if they fall for it.
Oh, right off rip, Koi losing a player with Shados down. It looks like some space will be taken towards this B site. They have managed to break through the choke point, but the mid lurk is delayed somewhat, if it's even going to go through for Grubinho. He has got a paranoia, though, and that's what he was in position to fire out with Camo, swinging in for 2 on the back of it. Great utility that gives Koi a chance.
An opportunity. The wall will section things off for the fights. All going one way until Bears finally manages to find a kill. The thing is, with 2 players watching that cross, make that just 1. Bears is bringing this round back, but they have already spotted that there's another player in main. They need to try and isolate one of these battles, and instead, it goes the way of Grubinho. A good start for Koi as they'll take themselves a pistol, and I feel like the 2 players standing, Mitch, they're the 2 I'd really like to highlight going into this match, because I feel like we have seen a huge uptake from Camo and Grabinho going into split 2 specifically. And I think that's the one thing that has been a little bit unfair for them. It's like you look at this team on paper at the beginning of the split, beginning of the season even, and you're going to see players like Shadow, Starzo, Shadow, like they are names we've seen for a long, long time. So we maybe don't give the youngsters the same wiggle room that, okay, this is coming up to the tier 1, it takes some time to get there. I think we're now seeing that time sort of take effect, get used to the stage, get used to playing against big opposition, and okay, maybe being so close to out that you don't feel as much pressure anyway.
Oh yeah. Yeah, your officials become more like a ranked game. It's the pressure's off your shoulders for sure. And you know, for the side of Koi, like it has been discussed on the desk, was, I mean, they even had to inform Barbar the other day that you're actually still in with a chance, brother. Like, it's not over yet, but it is an extremely slim chance. Still, a chance to show that everything that they've built, if given more time, if given another stage, something like that, that it could have worked, that they were moving in the right direction. I think they've already started to show that with their uptick in performance. And we said at the start of the last round, it was nice to see that the initial flank attempt shut down with Shados falling, but Grabinho is still in a great position to put out Paranoia and claim market control. There's already some good facets to this attack side, and as you can see, Gentlemates have stacked up the A site with their classics and their one sheriff. They have chosen the wrong side of the map as Koi set up for the typical post plant.
Yeah, the thing is with the way Koi play this round, it's the 4 rifles going together, the pistol on the lurk. Similar to what we've seen a lot of teams do with the 3-2, but a lot less wiggle room. You don't want to be losing 2 players even in this round because it costs you far more than it's worth. Grabinho is about the only player that can go down without it being too much of a problem. Although it does seem like, I like the fact that what they're doing with it is he is dropping a gun over to a teammate, so that if he goes down, the chances are Shadow's going to be able to hold on to that, fight for those extra orbs, because let's be real, from the shadows doesn't quite do as much as a Hunter's Fury. So I like that they're definitely thinking about all of these smaller details in rounds where, well, that's going to happen.
I mean, you're really disrespecting the From the Shadows with a man like Whalers on the server. No, he's not playing it right now, but we've seen it before. The impact was there. So
Yeah.
I don't know. I think he'd take that somewhat personally.
Was he the most impactful player in that match? Did he have
not.
the most impactful ult?
Maybe it was the guy who currently has the From the Shadows on mates. My man Kadavra. Yeah, swapping it up to the smoker roll. God, I'm hungry to see him play an ISO or a Neon. I think people aren't ready for what he'd be pulling.
Well, I'm interested to see if your curse also transfers to him, and it's just ex-Alliance players can't win when you're casting.
I mean, that's the thing. The other day, Cairo was doing the Polaris broadcast from my house. Hype, my ex-teammate also, was playing in that. They hadn't lost the map, and then they lost the series. So, or they had lost one map, I think. Either way, it just seems to extend. Hopefully, Cadaver won't suffer the same fate. And in this round, at least, they're starting it out by dropping Shadow. That's the lurker sent towards B to buy space and orbs. Shut down. The rest of the attacking squad now left to try to muscle some space out here on A. Grabinho again sent out. This time it is going to be the lurk attempt that he hasn't got the Paranoia to use up. The support will only be in the form of those smokes that have already been sent. He'll lurk out here, cycle his utility for this execute, and hope to find value from behind.
Yeah, great wall. Yeah, wall has left a gap, but that could end up helping them a little bit.
Yeah. A nice little spot to hide behind from the tank, so first contact can go towards spawn. As they swing, they're out in the open, and then he can come out from that little bit of cover. It's not a bad idea. They have lost Cadaver, the spawn player, through spams.
Yeah, this was a man advantage. Attack us with an opening duel. Last time he played this map, he was 1-15 in opening duels, which I think is a record. I don't know if there's anybody who's done worse than that. Right now, doing a little bit better in that regard. The only thing for Koi is really the time. 20 seconds left. You can see the space being taken on the other side of the map, but it's irrelevant at this point. Camo, though, will get the opener. He's going to clear the angle. They now know that Bears is there, but they haven't got past Whalers. The trade leaves things incredibly awkward, and well, Shados has no choice just but to save.
Yeah, Grabinho could have gotten something done if the spike went down, but they thought that the fake they sold, breaking the trap towards market, feeding into that space would have actually caused some sort of a rotation that even if the players were still on site, they'd be stepping out in the open. They'd be on their way. But no, they sat there patient, and Gentlemates managed to reap the reward of that. Now 2-1 with rifles in play. But again, Koi haven't saved over quite a bit. They're still able to get the damage done here.
Really nice initial set play. Again, shout out to the team behind the scenes who are catching everything in that regard, but this is what I want to see more of, because as I said, Takas had a really rough time at the last map with openers, because I feel like the setup wasn't really there. Already we're seeing a slight change in that regard, but bear in mind that was a bonus for Koi, even if it was a very good one. So they're still going to be coming in with rifles comfortably for this round.
Yeah, and a bonus that would have probably found success if they didn't run into so many players. If they had managed to sell that rotation maybe 10 to 15 seconds earlier, you could have found success. So a close one, but not one that finds results. Now's their chance. Spread out in a default, holding for aggression, hoping that mates decide to go running up on an angle, which with this comp especially, like when you have that neon for much faster rotations, it's not necessary, but you want to have that little bit of extra info. You see this more aggressive peek out of Kadavra. He's just trying to spot them as they make their way forward.
This is a very early rotation though. Like already.
Because Takas can get back so quick.
Yeah, I guess, but he's quite far in. Like they've already had to use a paranoia, and because that aggressive position is now gone, they're immediately going to pull back. Like Koi are definitely aware of some of the angles that are being played for, and they're using their utility just to try and make things more awkward for their opposing side.
Kadavra got hit by that paranoia, fell back, but now feeds
left.
back into the space, and the timing is absolutely perfect. He has a great read on how Koi are pushing and pulling the map. Grabinho, though, managed to sneak through, but that opens the door for Kata. He's now going to make his way right up behind them. The timing seems to be absolutely perfect. With nobody looking his way, they're safe behind the box for a moment, but once they step out, that's his time to strike. A double, a paranoia fired through, and here comes Takas taking advantage of that, and it's Kata that finds the kill. Now Takas gets to defuse, safe and sound, and nobody can get back into the site. An absolutely perfect round from Gentle Mason. My God, the impact of Kadavra ain't going anywhere.
Yeah, I guess this is why they feel so comfortable leaving him as that solo man. You know, we talk about the Cypher being the anchor, but it seems like they're going to do exactly the same thing with the Omen. And I highlighted Grabinho on the other side. I think both of them are sort of the players to watch in this match, weirdly. It doesn't happen very often. My only worry, though, is this is also something that was replicated in their previous series, where at times it did feel like it's Kata versus the world. Like, is this guy going to be able to get a multi-frag, or are they going to lose? And I want to see if, again, like, changes behind the scenes, whatever it may be, will give players more so like Takas. He's the man I'm looking at to have a big game.
Much more passive hold from Gentlemates. You know, now Koi are making the adjustment, realizing that that elbow player, the only way that that could have found success is the guy in elbow walked up behind. They know what happened last round, and so now they try to challenge him early, flashes cages, and blast packs in to take the space quickly to push him back, but mates weren't there. And all that noise tells the one guy who was close by, who I think was Bayaz, that, hey, there's a lot of players on A. They push B, they get the space with Whalers, locking them into this A push, and then mates have 4 players stacked on the site, ready to take this fight. But that's more targets for the showstopper. Camo's 3rd kill, but it's still neck and neck with Bayaz having a chance to pull it back into their favor. He's isolated. His teammates far away. Good flash, not a great follow-up though. And now Koi have a 2 versus 1.
It's not going to last long either. Shados is immediately able to catch the man. Unfortunately, there was a minor piece of timing there that could have been all the difference, and that was Whalers breaks the trip, and literally half a second later, the knife takes away all abilities of the 2 players. Obviously, it's just luck with timing, but they would have had absolutely no idea he was there if it wasn't for that exact moment. Even still, though, again, it looks like the read from Gentlemates was pretty much spot on, but Camo, just Camo. Like, being able to get 3 kills here, obviously he got teammates traded out, and then this battle between Bayaz and Grabinho is a little bit more awkward. Kadavra again though, he's looking to make plays on this Omen. It's not just sitting pretty, not just holding those sites. He wants to be in the thick of it.
Grabinho is in an interesting spot, to say the least. Sat inside the one-way smoke, waiting for someone, and it's funny looking at the map, that space is entirely open. It's been given up by mates. They're holding mid and B, leaving A for their opponents. Don't see that too often.
I also don't think you see that trip. The trip was just on the floor. Like, it wasn't even in... Because they're so used to people breaking it with the Soviet utility on the other side. They just put it on the floor in front. Again, these aggressive positions have been taken by mates.
Heard them.
The steps will definitely have been heard by Kadavra as well, and that's going to give that little bit of extra information over to Takas, who is just waiting. It's not the prettiest, but he gets the job done. We'll be able to back out of there, and now Kadavra strikes. That's the spike on the ground.
He's got a tough decision though. Holding the spike, you know the full force of your enemy is going to come towards you. It might not scare him back, but it will plenty of other players.
Left.
And nobody from his team close by. It is Kata against the world in this round, make no mistake, and he will not find success. 3 versus 4. One man lost is not the end of the world. And with 20 seconds on the clock, a move needs to be made. The push out of mates for extra space, almost punished, but Starzo can't get them. And now the spike is too far away to attempt it. Maybe if there were kills there, they could have rushed it down, but even then I struggle to find the success.
Yeah. I think in the last 20 seconds, they'd already made the decision to save. Yeah. Like, it's an unfortunate round for Koi, really. Like, the fact that it was so aggressive, they had no idea that Kadabra had made that play, and again, maybe he could have fallen back, whatever, but it was just the fact that he catches the spike. That was the main difference maker. And also the plays he's been making have allowed for a lot of early rotations, like, whether it be him controlling that A site or the push up middle. That's been allowing, say, Takas to switch up his spots, to have those stacks on the other side of the map. And again, I feel like that's something that Koi now have to realize, okay, this guy's pushing us, this guy's taking control. We need to deal with him.
I think it's the exact reason we didn't see him fall back too. He waited and then peeked out to see, is the spike gone? Do they take it and shift away? And then you can have that early rotation to the A site. And lots of early aggression put through. Hunter's Fury not finding the target's elbow, still under the control of Kadabra. That's been a big problem so far. He backs off a little bit, gives them some space while the fight goes down on short. Ult used by Takas, and ultimately not looking to get too aggressive. They want Koi to step into their trap so they can take them down with the crossfires, but Koi are stepping back. They're going to let this ult fade away. Well, feed into the late round. The only problem I have, Tom, is that they don't even have traps on the other side of the map. At this point in their head, these, especially after last round, these players could be anywhere.
It's the last 2 rounds. You had Whalers as well, pushing all the way up. So I think that they're definitely going to have to spend a lot of time just checking for this aggression. And I'm liking the fact that mates are not just going to sit there and wait. They're not going to go, okay, they're being patient, so we'll just sit there. No, they go looking for information once again. The TP, I assume that's going to attempt to go into the backlines. It's bold, and it has been stuck. The thing is, just look at where Kata is already. He is watching and waiting, but he doesn't win the fight.
30 seconds left.
A rare win in a duel against Kata when he knows where you are. Grabinho now the man behind enemy lines, causing even more problems. He's down to 24 HP. It's an easy kill. He might just have bought enough time by slowing down those rotations. Whalers and a tank fall. That's a wall bang through the market. Huge round from Shados. And with those 2 kills, that might be it done. For mates to go back into this, they risk their weaponry. They've got credits for the next on most players. But the chances in this 2v4, especially on this map, B-site post-plant, it is so difficult to get back in there, even when you're neck and neck on numbers.
Be pretty surprised. Financially, if they keep these 2 guns, they'll be able to buy into the next round without any problems at all. And it does seem like a lot of what their game plan is at the moment is just being able to take so much information on one side of the map that they're able to put themselves into position. Again, though, you have to highlight Grabinho. He was the disruptor. He was the main thing that made all of this fall apart, because you had the aggressive positions on A, you had a deep hold on that B site ready and waiting, and then someone TPs into your spawn. And I think, obviously, that kill goes the other way. And, well, I think maybe the round does as well, but instead they had to spend time dealing with that, and then Shados, that second shot's just disgusting. He's someone as well who has had a massive uptick in, more so towards what we expect from him. Because this is a guy that you think back to the Gambit days, like, okay, maybe he wasn't given the same hype at times as someone like Nats, but you think about high impact moments, I think you'd struggle to find anyone with better moments than Shados.
Nice flare to this attack side from Koi. I didn't even realize when Grabinho went for that ult towards the spawn, he was 59 HP. It's ambitious to do it on 150, but... And even committed to the smoke right afterwards. Only thinking about his team. Fight on mid for Camo. Trading blows with Takas, sending him back. Koi seem to be moving in the direction of A, which is definitely where the rotations are
cover going out.
On the way for mates. Yeah, Takas is going to commit. I'm not sure the Koi are going to fully send that. You know, we usually don't see that much utility around B. Now they've got their trap, they've got their cam, and Shados is constantly watching it for somebody pushing up. I feel like they are at least leaving the door open for going back, maybe even trying to sell the fake to mates.
They've been very patient throughout this game so far.
Oh, it's going to be A.
waiting for mistakes to be made, waiting for fights to be taken, and it does seem like Camo, in most cases, has been the player to take that initial engagement. The problem, though, is that there's still utility to play with. They can still be patient here. 25 seconds left. This battle is going to end up being everything. Both players now forced into an awkward corner.
Oh, that nade makes it so much more awkward. Good job by Bayas to find one. TacGas puts up the fast lane and almost gets a duel out of it. But with 12 seconds left, the fight swing Koi's way and the plant is going to be secured. A tough spam to try to find and no success. The information about to fall into the hands of Koi. They know exactly where the tank and Whalers are, although Whalers spamming definitely gives that away. Hiding inside the smoke. Well, that's one way to handle it, I suppose. Wasn't even off the tracers. Just blind fire. That will make the decision for Whalers. We're not going for this one. Time to carry the weapon forward. Before, we were debating about it in the 2v4, but this time there's just not credits enough to throw a rifle away for a 1v3 attempt.
No, and Koi again, like I am impressed with how sort of comfortable they seem to be getting into those late round scenarios. Like a lot of teams, you get to that like 15, 20 seconds marker and you're looking at panic. But it doesn't seem to be that way. Like Camo taking the initial fights, the trades being effective, even when like a player is dropped along the way. I think the more panicky team, even though they had the time on their side, actually look like mates there. Like two players jumping into that same corner off the flash. Like unless your opponents have no utility, that's not a safe place to be. And it was more reactive, I guess, when they're trying to fight back into that round. For that matter, they're going to take themselves the pause and, well, the first pause for the newly crowned coach.
Yeah, the first chance for Mad C to have some words with mates. Of course, wishing a speedy recovery over to existence. By the statement they made, it seems like we'll see him back on the stage eventually. But there's big boots to fill, that's for sure.
Yeah.
I don't see... Actually, I do see a lot of papers. I can't see how thick that stack is, though. We'll have to make a comparison later on.
Yeah, it's interesting as well, because I think what we always gave credit to Existence for was picking out those counters, picking up the things your opponents are doing. And I think that will be something that Gentlemates will dearly miss within this server. Coming into matches, I think a lot of teams, that we even, when we spoke to Emil, he said it to us directly. It's like, that guy comes in with papers, so sometimes we'll try and throw a spanner in the works just to make sure that he doesn't have the read on us. Yeah. And in this game, at least, it does seem like Gentlemates have a decent idea of what Koi want to do, but it is just that even when they have the read, even when they have the players in the right place, a lot of the time just players like Camo are just hard to kill. Like, this guy's stats for the last few weeks have been insane.
Yeah. Oh, there's a fire lit under this guy for sure. I mean, even in the state where playoffs isn't on the line anymore, you can still show yourself off. Never know unless you... Oh, sorry. Where playoffs are down to a very, very small chance.
There you go. They're not out.
They're not out. They're not out.
Hey, you were literally... If this was Liquid, you'd be like, oh, they're still in. They're still going. Like, literally, you did do that. And what happened? Did they made it. They made playoffs.
They made it. You got that right.
Yeah.
That was 3%. This, I think, is a little bit lower, but...
You don't even know.
I don't know.
I don't know what percentage it is.
It's not 5%. It's lower than that. But yeah, for Koi,
this is interesting.
They're about to be pushed on. Big play on mid, lighter weapons. They try to make it work, but, well, I think the results speak for themselves. That is a cleanup of the pistols, and realistically, you know, you have weaker weapons, you go running through a smoke, and there's two players holding you. That is kind of the result I expect.
But the thing is, it looked like they had a pop flash ready in the smoke.
But it didn't pop, did it?
No, I don't think it did. No. That's the bit I'm confused about, is I'm fairly certain neither of the other players were blinded and I didn't hear a flash. So maybe they just decided to go for the sheer element of surprise, but Koi were not surprised.
No. Well, there's something to be saved there at least. Whoop. There we go. There we go.
See, I was about to say, that's the one moment you probably would miss Logan quite a bit, would be a 1v4 with a Sheriff.
You're going to say that when Cadaver's the one as well. I mean, there's just no need. Yeah. I was talking to him about that earlier as well. I said, you know, it was split back in the day, and that look that overcame his eyes of just the trauma coming back at 1v4. My God, I'll never live it down. But for Koi, what a turnaround this has been on the season. They came in, you know, and it really is one of their darkest days. Came around the corner, all of a sudden they start to shine the brightest. There it is. Yeah, the decision was made. Let's not use the flash. Let's not waste it. Let's try to sneak through. Maybe nobody's watching it. Maybe we take the space for free. That maybe quickly got put down to a no, but 3 rounds left to play for. It's not over for Mates. They can still build up a decent amount of rounds. The ball is most certainly rolling for the attackers, and another showstopper online for Camo. That has been found with great effect in most of their games.
I think as well for Mates, when they had a victory versus Vitality in the previous split, they had a really dominant defensive side. That was where they actually put up a lot of their rounds. So this is definitely a bit more of a damning position to be in. And versus GX, we saw a 6-0 defensive half for Koi. Obviously different opponents, different compositions, hopefully a different mentality, but you kind of hope for the sake of Gentlemates that this is where they begin to turn things around again. 3 players ready and waiting on this side of the map, and although I think it's been a bit quicker for Koi, they're still happy to be patient. Timing though is perfect from Whalers, but the swing back out actually a little risky.
Cover going out.
Bayaz gets dropped here as well. And he's wide open on the site. There's no way to get him back into the round. Kadavra tries to grab a kill off the information being fed to him, but again, there's many bodies waiting for him when he swings. And the patient attack side out of Koi has found a lot of reward with an operator in the hands of Takas. He'll find it tough to grab value. They need to swing into the open, and in a 2v4, there's no need for those overextensions. Bar to cross to the site, which has already been found. Spike just now making its way in.
They don't even really need to just swing across and go to the site. I guess they just wanted to check the backline. And well, you know what, the tank's just going to duck out of there. I have to say, so far, although we've seen moments from the likes of Kadavra, I feel like Takas has had a round or two. I do feel like the tank especially, I don't know if I've said his name once. Like it seems like, and it's not even just because I don't think he's playing particularly bad. I just don't think he's been in the right place at the right time at all so far this game. And especially when you're running a Sage, a lot of what I want to see is him locking down angles. I've seen him do it once, I think, towards the door. We saw him do it on the cross into the A site, locking off elbow. But I feel like right now, other than that one cool play we saw where they managed to catch a player using the slow, I don't know if the Sage has had any real value.
Yeah, I think that's fair. You know, if anything, we saw him at the same time pop a slow and get shot through the smoke, so cost as much as it's given. Chance to save over these weapons at least, and there he is. Little double to wake him up towards the end of the round, but damage is kind of out of the question at this point. Koi reinvest and still find almost every player above 4,000 credits. So at this point, they're not going to be hungry for credits. They'll have rifles to finish out this half.
I think obviously for Whalers, he's trying to get a little bit more value, but again, it's just a little bit disjointed. Like, I think Kata was sectioned off, it left. Bayaz somewhat in the open from behind, and the fact that you have just a walk-up from Shados. And as these rounds go on, you can see the confidence of Koi getting higher and higher. In the early rounds, it took them a minute to get to where they are. Now they're just taking it for free.
Boombot thrown out. The tank could be in danger, but the Boombot's come back, so it's okay.
It's like Wingman, right? You can pick it back up?
Oh, yeah, don't worry. He'll have that back in 1 minute, 50 seconds. For Natank, Rez online doesn't really want to be the first one going down, but Kadavra's here to help him. Still has the paranoia, still a flash on Bayaz as well, so re-aggression can be done in the back of powerful utility. And it does look like they're all sectioning in towards this spot, but look how passive Koi are. And normally they would have pushed by now after taking that space. Mates think that maybe it's clear. They go to check and they find out that there's players waiting for them. The tank able to deal the damage to Camo, pop the res on the back of the slow, and will now protect the body, catching them, and then there's nowhere to run. In fact, the wall is used to jump up top, and they break it underneath him. Whalers steps up to the plate. Those 2 kills cleaned up means Shadow is alone, and a 1 versus 3 needed to put an 8th round on the board for Koi. It will not happen.
Yeah, I think that's the round I wanted to see. As I said, like, it's been quiet from Natank so far, but being able to trade out that kill. Okay, going up on the wall, definitely a bit of a gamble. But luckily he brought Kata back, and in this case that was enough. Whalers uses the distraction to pinpoint those last couple of kills, and I do think Koi had a decent read there, but Mates in the end,
let's get this done.
Being able to trade more effectively. Even still though, they won themselves the half. Opportunity for a fair few ults. Starzo 1 away. Shadow a couple away. This man just 1 away as well. A kill here could be big, but a little bit off with the shot.
Stun sent backwards as well, but they haven't spotted the player right up close. Whalers, trigger discipline on display. and the rest of the squad just about to walk out. He has to take the kill. He could have been spotted, and because of that, only the one frag. That's very unlucky. Whalers could have been on for 2, 3, or even more. Instead, the pressure put onto his teammates. They have so much utility goes for him. He's able to at least drop one. The problem is the player he kills can be brought right back to life. And now the pressure on the tank and Kadavra players who had so much success in the last round on Elbow. No res to work with now, though. They'll have to do it all alone. 2 players each, or someone to have a hero performance. There is a smoke online for Kadavra to at least block them off in main, and that's exactly where it's going to be used. A player running back heard, but he doesn't get there in time. And now, the most dangerous part of this diffusing in the open. The tank has a wall to at least attempt to block a few bullets, but there's so many players waiting there. And he will find it hard to grab that value. Okay, that's going to block more than a few bullets now. They need to push out in the open. They need to push back Kadavra, and he's stopping them, slowing them, buying the tank a chance! What a play by Gentlemates! 7-5 locked in!
They've done that before. I've seen that exact play before. Just throwing down the wall. Like, you look at the tank so desperately low on HP, you think a spam bullet or 2 could have taken him out of the round. There's no way they win that. But that combination of him and Kadavra playing off of each other, knowing what the plan was from the get-go, and just holding the line as long as humanly possible. It was only really the TP that threw him off.
Oh, the notebook's gone.
And luckily it didn't hit his lunch.
Yeah, well, I think that's going to be the next thing to go. He's running out of objects to throw.
I just want to come back to it. He's just got like spaghetti on his head.
Oh, well, 5 rounds in the end. Not bad for Gentlemates. They recovered it nicely. Big play. And that is a confidence builder. That one's going to get the blood pumping. For Koi, well, frustrating, to say the least.
Finding his note.
Just searching around the room.
Just like crawling on the floor. Oh, guys, I really need that for map 2.
What's our pistol round strat? Well, hold on. Gotta find the book. Attack ass. Oh, no. You can't write that. Oh,
okay.
Shados! Doubling up. Okay, a spike dropped, and he's still going. This has been a phenomenal first half out of Shados, but this one really hammering home the impact he can have. Smoke fades, and there's another player here to find both. I thought that it did start out poorly for Koi, but, well, they certainly recovered it.
Yeah, I mentioned at the beginning, like, Taka's had a really rough time last time out finding those openers. Well, he's done his job here. A 2-for-1 discount, but unfortunately used the wrong discount code. Whatever Shados had was a little bit better. Just being able to take down 3 players on his own, and then, hey, Camo comes in to clean up the rest of the mess. Those two, 16-8, 12-5. Definitely been the difference makers so far in this map. Koi now taking themselves pistol on this defensive side is going to set themselves up nicely. Takas, though, there you go. Another opener. He really is turning that stat line.
That was straight up mid. I assume Starzo was rocking the light shields on the mid peak. That's quite the mistake, as Takas has shown him. It is the only weapon for this side of mates, though. You would imagine you'd... Oh, no. Yeah, you might want to go up, get that weapon, take some space, but the denial from Shados.
I think it's already been picked up.
Recovered by one of them, was it? On the pistol?
I think Rubinho only had a pistol.
Koi reset nicely. And any damage that we think about is from this point forward, stripping shields, taking weapons out of their hands, but they have mostly classics to do it with. I think all eyes realistically sit on Takas.
He's watching the flank. Hoping to be that last line of defense. A few extra credits have been spent to slow them down around the wall, putting in the shock darts and the nade just to clear some of the close angles. This is the thing, Koi, throughout this game so far, been methodical. Even still, though, it's getting scary! What is that from Takas? A pace save card Thrifty that, honestly, you put it on his back, and he's carried them through.
What's a second replay of that, please? I just see one more, just a little slow. Little bit slower on this one. First,
this was kind of
he was jumping to. Even more impressive of a shot. It didn't really need to see poor Kata getting shredded. But this here, with the Sheriff in play, there's the first. There's the second and a headshot to finish it off. One chamber of this thing, all that's needed. I don't know if that's what you call it. It's not a magazine like the revolver. What does that have? Little spinning. It's a chamber, right? I don't know. Someone's going to correct. Gun enthusiasts, let me know. Koi, they've got to be devastated after suffering that loss.
Yeah, they had 4 rifles in that round. That wasn't a low bonus whatsoever. Whalers eliminated, but he was only there with a pistol, and now this post plant, like, it just becomes awkward. You've got the wall down to section off mid.
Spike planted.
You've got a lurk from Cadaver as well. Only with a Spectre, but you are up against players that don't have any armor. So if anything, he should be able to shred at least a couple. And the rest are just basically trying to clear out some of these A's. Seems like they're really ready for him. I feel like Koi have had some great reads throughout this game so far. Unfortunately, they haven't been able to capitalize, and Cadaver's just going to leave.
Yeah, no need for him to force the issue. They were trying to keep him boxed in for this flank out of Shados, but a little bit too late to the party. Thing is, they have cast a pretty wide net, so while mates will win this round, the question is how many rifles can they survive with, either by being killed or going down to the spike on the way out. The tank, though, seems to have cleared this completely, and the rest of the squad, having secured spawn, won't be going anywhere. Nicely done by Gentlemates. Another round on the board, and the gap is now down to 1.
8-7. Kaquka's having a lights out performance coming into the second half. He was okay in the first, but as I said, it felt like Koi did quite a good job of just, well, unintentionally avoiding him. I don't think it was a direct thing that they were doing, but it didn't really seem to be in play. Spectre still for Kada. I'm looking at that overdrive ready for Takas as well. Could be something to pick up the pace in the round, and already you can see the defense are starting their rotation. They've gone for that A aggression, but after seeing nothing, look to bolster up mid a little.
Yeah, just so Starzo will be a little bit closer as utility goes out on B. Fast lane in. He's on his way. There to support the backside push. If Takas continues to extend, the stun certainly makes it seem like he will. Shados had a reveal, but the wall slightly blocked his opportunities. Takas saw one up top as well. The shots aren't landing for mates. They're not able to thin out this defense, and with Koi holding on to a lot of utility, they can fight their way back through. Drone on its way. Still have the paranoia, still a nade on Camo as well. And they're going to start by coming from the same angle, all 5 towards the spawn for now. It doesn't look like they're even going to attempt market control with the paranoia thrown out, the blast pack in, the space taken, the tank's hearing it all. But he's shown himself, the bun clearly visible above the wall, and Shados drops him. At least one more kill to work with, but that defuse in the open will always be a problem. Oh, Takas dropped though. Again, there's so few angles they can hold from. All that Koi need to do is start the defuse and fight through this choke point. But Whalers is holding on for dear life. 3 kills, and then he's put to his end. The spray from Bayaz, running out of bullets just as the smoke faded. Koi up to 9, and by the thinnest of margins.
Yeah, I think the unfortunate truth of this round is that neural theft. That being online for Shados after getting a few kills in the pistol, I think a kill in the last round as well, it just meant that the second they got that elimination on the tank at a close range, it gave up where Takas was. Yeah. And that was their sort of snake in the grass. That was the sneaky play to come back through right at the end. And then you're just fighting from main. I'll say, Whalers, impressive job. Like, he did what he could.
Let's go.
But without that second line to their after plant, everything fell apart. Somewhere out there, Bayer is celebrating a successful neural theft.
I'm out of here. Here we go.
Oh, quick play, but Starzo's behind the smoke. He's got the jump on Takas, but the tank is able to drop him in time. The heal, well, it's not going to be applied because Takas is shot in the head immediately, with Shadow doubling up on the angle with just a bulldog. Such incredible damage has sent them going the other way, but Camo got a little curious, and with his head ripped clean off in the
jump over the wall.
I believe he did, and he met 2 players staring straight at him. And with the space taken by Whalers, it seems to be quite clear going to the A site, and there's the info. This was my main concern. Could Grubinho catch the planter off? But no. Now they know exactly where he is.
For a second, he might be able to get a timing.
Spike planted.
Tank also going to get himself his ult, but wow, at least for the players that are already dead, they are far too far away. Whalers sitting pretty, watching on the cam. Will already know that There's one player back towards that corner. See Grabinho try and actually TP into the cage. He's won that fight. It looked like one that Whalers should have for free. Instead, though, this off angle from Kadavra should be what ends the round, but the smoke already onto the spike is going to try and at least make things a little bit more awkward, but there he is up from above once again. Kadavra puts the round to bed. Another round on the board for Mates, and that will send the economy of Koi back into the ground.
He was firing some shots at their feet through the smoke to start with. A little warning shot. That didn't send them running. 9-8, tight score line. Rez online for the tank after that kill coming into the next round. That already won them one previously with the elbow hold here on the attack. I think it's a little bit easier to find the value. There's Camo trying to get up and above the wall with the blast pack, but, well, an audacious play. Not quite the result he was hoping for. Now we move into the next. Like I said, Rez online, one away from Beyaz having his ultimate as well. So B is very much on the menu for a quick play straight through on the back of picking up the orb. For Koi, they've called a timeout. They're not too far away from some of their own ults, but the credits, I think, is where the concern starts to come through. Sure, they could grab a Showstopper, a Hunter's Fury, maybe even a Null Command in this round, but I doubt they're doing it with the eliminations because it doesn't look like they'll have rifles.
No, and I think in a lot of these rounds, we've seen that Gentlemates are really good at just sort of building up as a unit, and it doesn't matter where they're looking to push on the map. There's always a decent piece of supportive utility to try and help out Takas. Because again, that was the problem that they had last time on this map, was that it felt like he was running into angles with nothing to support him and getting shot in the head. But now, top of the board, we've seen as well just some decent plays coming out from this side. In the post plant, where you've got the wall, you've got the delay, it definitely makes things that little bit easier. For Koi, they've got to gamble. And the gamble is that they've got 4 players over on this A side of the map.
Suppressed.
We're only going to get a little bit of information. Now, they might want to try and challenge Katahid just because of the fact that they have weaker weapons.
Backed off. Looks like a bit of a stack being called for towards this B site. Everybody shifting in that direction. Question is whether Mates will fall for that. Going much more cautious about giving away those footsteps. It was all shift walking on the way back, so there really is no way for Mates to know that this gamble has been taken. The spike still behind in mid, and Kadavra outside the A site. Sure, he has ult in case things get a little bit risky, but it gave me the idea that they might not commit. Now, though, all the numbers are facing straight into B. And just like that, I don't know what the call was, what they saw, what they heard, but they realized there's a stack. They decided to take it the other direction, but Koi have also adjusted wall there to block them off. Takas grabs Shadow, and back to B we go. Still, Koi are going to be here on time to get some scrappy fights.
There's a few things in this round that made me nervous, but we'll see if the finish is going to be clean enough, and it will. Whalers has found a double, and Grabinho left on his lonesome isn't going to get anything more. No, my only worry in that round, I don't mind the fake, I don't mind the ruse. I don't like the fact that the tank had the spike. Yeah. That's lunacy. Like, if he goes down in mid with a spike while trying to put his wall down,
well,
could lose the round.
He also came mid late. This way to go into market, then went back up to do it. But there were 2 risks as he put the wall down. Was the second for that spike to be dropped in the open. And Takas as well goes straight into the B site through a smoke against pistols. But you see the idea when Whalers was around the left side, so they're pushing both sides at once and just overwhelming that defense. I mean, considering they ran multiple times into the majority of the Koi players, that went pretty well. Kadavra, well, there was no trap there this time, so he thought he had free space. But, well, that's not the case.
They are trying to put the pressure onto mid. A round as well where a lot of ultimates are online. Losing your smokes this early on is definitely not ideal. But, again, you can see that Gentlemates more and more audacious plays are starting to come out of them. It normally happens when they're at their most confident, and for Koi, important to try and shut that down as quickly as possible. Pressure about to be put onto mid. They are still going in this direction. Gonna try and wall it off, but that has already been broken.
Before even Takas could cross, it was wide open.
You will not kill my ally.
Rez onto Cadaver with the space taken, defending the corpse. Now they're out of there, but not all of them. Look at the push up by Whalers. This is going to again be combined. Whalers and Takas for a second round in a row, pushing together. The reveal is around the other side, and Takas is making noise. He's saying, no, no, you found me. But you didn't find my buddy Whalers. Now the site is secure, the plant is in, and Whalers is staying in an aggressive spot, trying to be the headache for this squad as they make their way in. There's a trap there waiting for them, the cage to delay, and although the trap is now gone, they've bought so much time. The only hope is that maybe Grabinho can thread the needle, but he's now been spotted.
Oh, already picked out of the sky as well. Camo is going to be dropped. Showstopper achieves absolutely nothing for the remaining couple of players. Well, even getting out of here might be difficult. Cadaver back to take this fight again. It's lost again to the same player as well. But it doesn't matter. The round is already secured. And I feel like, again, solid reactive play from Gentlemates. Like getting Cadaver back online, using that to pincer. But I have to ask, like, for Koi to just completely abandon anything at the B site, what's going on? Like that for me is just such an oversight that basically someone can walk, I believe that was straight through B main.
Ship walk right side,
and just walk all the way in. Like, that's insanity.
Well, I mean, I would venture the guess that they just didn't expect that quite clearly, that a man would blind walk in, but this is it. When you're lurking on the other side, you tend to just shift contact till you hit utility or a player, and he didn't do that until it came down to that last fight.
Oh, no,
you can see how frustrated the coaching staff of Koi are, and understandably, that is a tough round to give up with a gap left open, hoping no one would exploit it, and they most certainly did. Gentlemates' advantage coming into this round is kind of sitting to Koi with ultimates, certainly. Although the showstopper was used to no effect, they still have their neural theft, they're from the shadows, but most importantly, the bow and arrow on Shadow. He's got his Fury of the Hunter. Grabinho dropped after just one. I thought he was on for more.
It seems to be the case a lot of the time with Koi at the moment, is having one player fight alone on one side and then the rest playing this almost rotational style of gameplay. The thing is, it's because of the mid plays that have been happening so regularly. Mates have conditioned them to have 3 players around middle and just constantly play with the rotations. Now in this case, they've got the info. Moving as a death ball, the members of Koi are looking to try and re-swing to exactly where they are, and well, this Hunter's Fury, it's eventually going to get one tag, but that is all.
Oh, he's safe. Somehow made it out of there. Shadow wasn't quite ready for Cadaver to be that close, and the space taken allows a clear hit to the B site.
30 seconds left.
Could they have closed the door on the way through? No, they couldn't. It's already been broken. Maybe they even had to break it on the way in. I didn't hear the shots, but who knows? Natank, well, he's on the wall. You know this about him, but he's only good for the one again, and the trade's not there. Koi left with a chance, and now that chance is looking a lot better with Cadaver down. They only need to focus forward. They don't quite know that. With the flashes already used up by Bayaz, he can't re-aggress with any great effect. Whalers caught behind the site in the choke point, trapped down, but it's been spotted at this point and will be destroyed. Now they look to take Whalers, and it's an easy fight. 70 HP, no utility barring a knife. This has to be a phenomenal individual performance, and it will not be. Just the one found. Koi right back into things, neck and neck at 10-10.
Yeah, a much needed round, but one that I'm not sure is going to be the turning of the tide. Because I still feel like the way that Gentlemates are, again, they've just conditioned them to have to play a certain way. It ultimately just comes down to some firefights, like Natank being isolated or re-swing from Cadaver. Like, if those plays don't happen and they work together in the post-plant as they have been up until this point, I still think they probably hold on to that round. And for Koi, I think something much more drastic may need to change. Nonetheless, still level. Ultimates for both sides pretty much completely gone. A couple available just for almost information purposes. And right after, I said it, they were conditioned to play loads of players in mid. Then they went direct. Now they go back to mid.
It's a strategy that succeeded many times. Why not go for it again? That nade slowing them down, actually changing the direction that mates are going for. Straight into the spawn, and Camo's caught. Utility in hand, and a bullet in the head. Gentlemates, they have spread wide on this one. Even having the tank go through the wall to take that fight around on the back of A.
completely blindsided on the side of Koi, left in B main. They have that control, but that's about it. And with the credits very low on a lot of these players, I mean, I would be shocked if they decide to go for this.
Not going for it.
They stay in B
Absolutely
main
no
all
chance.
round. The question is, do mates go for them?
Yeah, the credits are not too bad, especially on Whalers, but it seems like it's going to be Takas, the one on the hunt. One off his ultimate anyway, but more importantly, it's the damage that he can do to the economy. Keeping these two guns will probably give Koi a bye for the next round. Losing both, probably have to eco. May even put 12 on the board for their opponents. Shados, when challenged, has been good. He will be able to take down one. Trying to get him out of his hidey hole is definitely not going to be easy.
I'm out of here.
Oh, here he goes, sliding through the angle. Long range fight, tag down low, but now the damage is done. And the distraction for Whalers to walk behind. Perfect. Bayaz, unlucky. These things happen. 11 to 10 for Gentlemates. They've got themselves the advantage. They've put their opponent's economy in the bin with those punish kills, and Koi are going to call a timeout. This is they need to be very careful about how they approach the next round bye. If they eco, then they need to be perfect from that point forward just to buy an overtime. Tough decision ahead of this squad.
It's got to be infuriating as well. Because as I said, a lot of the stuff that mates seem to be doing is, it's not, like they have a pre-plan for the round, but the mid-round calling is changing things within a second. Like everything they want to do is being done on the fly. So you look at the way that the Koi players were ready to try and just retake top mid, you're caught with a boom bot in hand because someone pushes spawn because a fragment blocked the place they were planning to go in that second and they changed their mind. That's the difference between maybe having a chance in the round and getting obliterated and caught with utility. But that's what makes this mates team so difficult to play against at times, is they have the ability, they have that synergy in the moment that can be so awkward to play against. And for Koi, on their map choice, going into split, which as I said would look fantastic for Gentlemates last week. We've already said that they are facing up against elimination. I think that nail will be in the coffin if they lose this.
Yeah, fantastic. I mean, it looked flawless. Should get Andalucia on that map. 13 to 1 last time. And I guess there was technically a flaw.
Almost.
One singular one.
I think it came down to a second, if I remember correctly.
Yeah, it was a tight margin. They denied the plan one time.
It's the same again, though. Like, look, an isolated Shadow. He's also the only player that doesn't have a gun, by the way, so this buy is already stretched, already on its last legs.
He's thrown in mid and they've walked out on B. When he turns back around, it's going to be a very different sight that's awaiting him, let me tell you.
And it seems like, again, whatever Gentlemates decide, okay, last round we pushed up mid. Koi, they then go, okay, we're going to hold mid. Gentlemates have a new plan now. And they need to be trying to be more proactive rather than reactive. That's what this Koi defense has been. Now their reaction, well, let's give this retake a go. Well, they're going to be slowed at every corner.
Yeah, this is the problem. As soon as they pop one of their flashes, only one left now. The wall goes up. The null command comes in. Now Camo tries to break space, gets dropped. 2 and 2 split on the way through, and Kadabra just deletes the first arm of that attack. Grabinho does well, but it's too little, too late. Out to try and save, but look how quickly they're chasing him down. Those steps are heard. He knows he's not getting away with this one for free. One more fight, 36 HP on Kadabra. He decides not to re-aggress, not to follow him all the way into the spawn. It's the right call. A weapon carried forward for Gentlemates. 2 chances to close this map out and set themselves up for a likely 2-0 with Split up next.
It's a map you can tell that Koi will likely have known it was coming, but that doesn't really change anything in the grand scheme of things. But yeah, I think that their defense has been an attempt to react to what their opponents are doing, and that has failed at every single corner. Stars is going to get the information for them this time, but just the death ball. It really is. It's like they're playing as 5. Every once in a while, they're going to leave Kata behind, but I think that's all they really need to do to win this game, is just play off of each other, because eventually, Koi are going to make a mistake.
There.
Looks like Mates are again going to try to focus on Shadow, but be keen to take it other directions. Spike on its way to A. 2 players inside B, playing on, I guess, the insecurities on that B site from the last round where they lost it so easily. The space was taken. Now there's much more passive traps with 3 players. Make that 4 very close by. Drone clearing mid, nobody there. They might even think at this point that drone tells you that it's B main committal. But soon they'll learn that it's the other side of the map the challenge is coming in on, and it's Grabinho that has to, I mean, he doesn't even have to find kills on the way in. All he has to do is survive, delay while his teammates rotate.
Okay.
He's already found the first.
Well, not for long. Bayaz is already back from the fray, and the pressure is in on the other side. Getting out of here is not going to be easy. He's being chased down. Takas full sprint, but eventually the leash is put back on him. He's got to try and hold on for a little bit longer before running it down. You know that that's not going to last much longer, though, as Takas will be right in their face once again.
Oh, it's the tank up close on the back of the Paranoia, but it hasn't landed on at least one player. So he bails while Bayaz takes one down with a nade. Kadavra on Camo's head. That's 3 versus 5. Mates looking likely to close it out here, and now the spam from Shadow costs him a bit of his own health, but Kata backs off, wanting to play on the site with his teammates. Lots of them stacked up, but Starzo manages to find a blind spot and actually takes all 4. Koi looks down and out of that one, but they've managed to pull this one out of the bag just in time with close to a second left on the clock. It's 12-11.
I'm not going to lie, I was with you. I thought it was done. I thought it was over. Starzo's not been having the best of games, but a play like that could change absolutely everything. They lose a couple of players just on the initial fights, and then I think that just ends up with Gentlemates a little bit more tunnel visioned in.
Let's go!
On those players looking to come in from short. Koi have found their lifeline, but again, they have not managed to get 2 rounds in a row this entire half. This would have to be the first.
That's quite a scary statistic. Desperate times. Now it's time for those measures. Let's see what Gentlemates have planned. Again, making noise towards B, fast lane put out. But the traps are still there. That's something that Koi are very much aware of. They know the space is not being fought for that aggressively, although this could be part of a plan to sell a fake. Paranoia used on A, pushing a player back. One mid spotted. Potentially, yeah, they just break trap, go out, and there's plenty of Koi players ready here for the early challenge. Null command used to try to stop any of this utility, which is a great idea. Mates like to get aggressive when they see the site is open, but now they don't have the util to do so, so Takas is kind of stuck stalling out in the corner and buying time for the rest of the defenders to rotate in, but that kill changes things. Now Koi are on the back foot.
Oh, another for Takas. He's looking to take over this on his own. 3rd kill already, but again, Shadow turns it back. 3 players to find. That clock ticking down. The tank not on the wall, but behind the wall. Kadavra's gone as well. Somehow, this is becoming competitive, but they've got to check that corner. They've got to hold the line. It isn't going to be happening. Gentlemates will take that first map, and Mitch with Split coming up next. I'm a worried man.
I'm absolutely worried, as all the Koi fans out there should be. We saw Split from Gentlemates last week, and it was 13-1. They barely broke a sweat. Now, we'll see if they can do it again after the break.
Let's go! Nice! Nice!
I know a place that will break you into 1,000 pieces. Stay away from them. Stay away from Lorca, Paco, and Picasso. Don't ask about Lola. Ay, Caballo Grande. Ay, Dolor de Nieve. But, in spite of everything, it occurs to you to visit Andalusia. Don't say I didn't warn you. Be careful of the Andalusian crush.
Hey guys, it's Jimmy Lin. In this series, I'm going to walk you through attack on Pearl. Watch out for the stairs, clear this angle. You're going to be able to fight this.
Red Bull gives you wings.